Let's give him a clap for that. Wonderful. That is Lamek Otieno, and Lamek Otieno is from what is known as Ghetto Classics, and what is unique is that he's from Korogosho, playing wonderful, wonderful music. But before we go into some of that, let me just introduce the other people we have on the panel. We have Elizabeth Njoroge, who is the founder of Ghetto Classics. Great to have you.
Thank you, Mike.
We also have Wycliff Otieno, who is part of is it orchestra? Is it a group? What do we call it?
Yes, orchestra.
It's an orchestra. Yes. Wonderful. Great. Wycliff, great to have you. He plays the saxophone, although he didn't come with his saxophone. Next time you must carry your saxophone. Okay. We also have Simon Kariuki, who's their tutor. But let me start with you, Elizabeth. Tell me a little bit about Ghetto Classics. What's that?
So Ghetto Classics is a program about using music to change the lives of young people and those living in very difficult circumstances, because our belief is that the skill that comes with learning something like classical music, an art form, are very positive skills that can be transferred into other parts of the child's life. So learning to play an instrument like that, the violin, requires a lot of hard work, a lot of practice, a lot of discipline, commitment, and he's part of an orchestra, and it means he has to listen to everybody around him. His part is very important to make the whole work well, and I believe, we all believe, that those skills can be transferred to their schooling, to their home lives, and therefore change the community from within. So
music as a discipline has a lot that you learn from apart from just reading the stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we are very tough in terms of what we expect from the kids, in terms of their commitment to their program, their behavior, their discipline, their practice. You know, we push their limits, and it will be easy for them, particularly in the in the tough environment that they are, to be doomed, to be like, oh, life sucks, whatever. But through the positivity that comes with learning these instruments, we pray that it changes their whole concept of life and what life can offer them. I always say, I mean, Lamek is a talented musician, but there are those in our group, and we teach about 300 kids in 1 week, who will not necessarily be musicians. They will do other things, but they're going through the program. I pray will make them better at whatever it is that they choose to do later on in life. All
right, I'm going to come to you, Simon, to find out what kind of talent we have in Korogosho. But first, Elizabeth, what made you go to Korogosho? First of all, orchestra, jazz, classical music, it's sort of associated, with, one would get a feeling of the elite, absolutely, so to speak. So what made you pick on Korogosho?
Let me first say that that's a fallacy. Music is not about elitism. Perhaps maybe the exposure to it means that it is the elite that know it, but music is universal. It doesn't matter where you're from. It's like a book or a painting. Just because you see a painting from Japan doesn't mean you will not like it because you're Kenyan. It's a beautiful painting, and the same with music. It doesn't matter where you're from, how much money is in your pocket. If it's beautiful, it's beautiful. Going to Korogosho, I'll say that was purely a happenstance. It was the stars that brought it to happen. I had a friend who was involved in a project that was building a basketball pitch and a football pitch in this compound that we work in Korogosho, and he invited me for a meeting where they were discussing it with a Catholic father at that center, and UN Habitat at the time, and Ghetto Classics grew out of that when the father called me after the meeting and asked me to start a music program there. Oh. I had never been to Korogosho before, but I am glad I went. I have enjoyed my time there very much.
Excellent. Simon, you are an alumni, as it were, who's now changed to tutor. Tell me, what was the experience when you first read? I think you're one of the first students that they had. How did this make you feel at that point? Having all these instruments coming and this music coming to the slum area, how did that make you feel?
Well, I feel proud at this moment, but initially it was very challenging. You're trying to integrate another culture. Okay, music is diverse, it's a universal language, but you're trying to, my director was, and the father in charge at that time, were bringing in new music, which we never listened to. I didn't know about classical. So you're integrating a new ideas into another community, which is quite challenging. And for the idea to work, you have to do a lot of follow-ups, not only in music, you have to convince those people who you met there that this there's a life after learning this, of what I appreciate a lot my director did, because I joined the group, but I was joining and dropping. You know, you're trying to teach me classical music. I'm used to reggae music, hip hop, reading, and you want me to read those notes and start playing the instrument. It was very, very challenging. But over the years, it's become a discipline. You practice that hard work of being alone in the room, practicing the music. You know, it changes you. It gives you another view of life, make you more responsible, make you know time management, you know, and feel that there's hope. So, you know.
Now that you're a tutor, what are some of the challenges you face trying to have this kind of music sold to that community?
We are still on that process of making sure that the community understand the music, because they're still influenced with the raga music, you know, other type of the music. We still have the challenge, but the most important thing I'm appreciating now is like the young kids, like the one we are having here. They are able now to they're able to learn, and they are ready to learn, which is becoming a tick. And also the community itself, they are ready to cope up with this kind of the music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wycliff, how long have you been in Ghetto Classics? And you can speak Swahili, by the way, if that's what you're comfortable with. Anybody whichever you're comfortable.
1 year and a half.
1.5 years.
Yeah.
What instrument do you play?
Tenor saxophone.
Tenor saxophone.
Yeah.
Why did you pick on a saxophone?
Actually, the instrument that day were just called. In fact, I did not know any music, only the music that you had on the radio. This one was just accidentally. But when the time gone, you find being interested in it and you enjoy. So that when I decide that I will stick in this instrument and learn it.
Do you have certain musicians that you like who play the kind of music you play?
Yeah, we have Soweto Kinchi there. Yeah. That's one of the musicians who came for the Safaricom International Jazz Festival in February, Soweto Kinch. He has remained friends with the kids, and he gives them Skype lessons.
Wow.
Every month on the saxophone. So that's who he's talking about.
Lamek, why did you pick on the violin? I'm told that a violin is a very difficult instrument to play.
Yeah, it's a very difficult instrument, but the time I joined Ghetto Classic, I was from church, so I was going home. Then I had there was a road show of Ghetto Classic. Then I had the instruments. Then after lunch, coming to St. John, I found that the classes of violin were taking place, so I just joined them and started playing the violin. Although it was difficult for me to come every time and then, I prayed to God to help me to come to Ghetto Classic to learn violin in an hall.
Okay. And you recently won something. Tell me about that. What did you win?
Yeah, it was in Kisumu, where we went for Kenya Music Festival, and I played the solo piece Gavot, and I became #1 with 89%.
Wow. And how did that make you feel?
I felt happy. I just remembered when I joined violin, I never knew if I could play a certain piece like this, and I felt proud of myself.
Okay. Elizabeth, what's the plan for Ghetto Classics? What's your vision for them?
Wow, I have big plans, but I just want to follow up on what Lamek has just talked about, and continue from maybe Simon as well, because it has to do with the plans that when we first started, the community thought we were aliens. Really, we had landed from another. Yes,
I can imagine. I mean, classical music, even amongst the elite, is not very. There are those who like it, there are those who don't.
Yes, absolutely. So, yeah. And I remember our first concerts at St. John's Community, in the hall that we use, and there was just stunned silence. What is this? But now I can say that the community is proud of us. They are proud of their kids. And they have seen some of the positive impact on their kids, because somebody like Lamek, you can imagine this year they went to Kisumu. Last year they were in Mombasa, and 2 years before that they were in Meru for the Kenya Music Festival. So as well as playing music, they get to see other parts of the country, and I always tell them when they're going that this is your country. Just because you live in Karanja does not mean you cannot walk into another place or another part of the country and feel you belong there. They get to meet other kids from other backgrounds. Lamek plays in the Safaricom Youth Orchestra, where there are kids from all backgrounds, and when they're playing, sharing a desk, sharing music and playing in one orchestra, you can't tell which child is from Braeburn School and which child is from St. Clair's in Karanja.
So there's an element of huge exposure.
Absolutely. And realizing that just because I was born in Karanja doesn't mean I'm any less. Right. My blood is the same, my ability is the same. So our plans in the future are to extend the program outside of Karanja, God willing, to reach out to more kids, because as much as we get a lot of requests to join us, getting to Karanja, to where we practice, can be very restrictive, and our main teaching day is Sunday, so it's a little bit difficult. So we'd like to move elsewhere. I'd one day like to start a conservatory of sorts that helps talented kids who are from needy backgrounds, who have the ability to be on a world stage, to start from when they're very young, so that they can be competitive and can play anywhere in the world. And there's a girl who's not here today, but she's called Celine, and Kefa as well. Last year they went to play at the Commonwealth Games. From Karanja they're going to play with musicians from India and Scotland.
From all over the world.
Yes, and just because
as we wind up, Simon, what's the impact that this particular program and music generally in that area?
Okay, the major impact is for the social behavior. Kids are really changing. The environment is changing when it's come to the issue of the security. As you know, they are very expensive instruments, but the security is very good there, because what people have understand the importance of that music, and also the community, they are appreciating a lot. So the project is growing, and very soon, as my director said, we'll lead the example.
Okay, wonderful. Well, it's been great having you. And Elizabeth, you have something happening this weekend?
Yes, we are gladly and happily the recipients of the Safaricom International Jazz Festival, and tomorrow there's a great musician, a legend and an amazing human being called Salif Keita, who's performing at the Bomas of Kenya tomorrow evening. The doors open at 6:30. The concert starts at 8. Starts off with Gogosimo Band, and then Salif Keita comes.
You'll also have part of Ghetto Classics.
Yes, they'll be there. Yeah,
wonderful. Well, go out and show what you're supposed to. We want to finish with Lamek giving us another piece, as we wish you all a fantastic weekend. For those of us on KTN News, stand by. We've got the news coming up at exactly 9 o'clock. But for now, Lamek Otieno with, I don't know what piece he's going to play, but he certainly will give us a number that we shall enjoy. Wonderful there. And well, DJ Genius, take it away as we wind up the show and wish you all a fantastic and a great weekend. It's been a great thing hosting you right here on Morning Express.